Hey everyone, you're listening to ZEN The Podcast with me, Sirg.
And me, Zenobia.
Yes. So, how was your day, Zenobia?
It was very good. Eyebrow.
Yeah. Anything eventful so far?
I talked about porn.
Oh.
In my health and sexualities class.
Mm-hmm.
And I was able to elicit laughter and conversation.
No one can take porn seriously.
That's unfortunate. I mean, I don't take it that seriously, but I will talk about it. Literally, it's not that big of a deal to me.
And how it influences sexuality.
How it influences our sexuality, how it influences our culture, our media, how it's being marketed and integrated into our society, all of that.
Okay. And you got positive feedback from it, and your teacher approved and everything.
I mean, I already set it up there, so if she didn't approve, oh well, I'll turn in the paper, research, bibliography, all that.
Okay. Well, today is going to be a cool episode. We're going to be talking about dating apps. We all been through that. Most of us, I guess both of us, are still in that world. So we're going to talk about that.
Okay. So we're going to be talking about the pros and cons of using dating apps. And we're going to be sharing our experiences. And lend pieces of advice if you were to use a dating app.
Yes, so stay tuned after this. And we are back. You're listening to ZEN The Podcast, and the theme for today is dating apps.
So let's start with the first topic of the day, which is
pros and cons of using dating apps. First, what dating apps are you on?
So I'm on Her.
Okay.
And Tinder.
I'm on. Pull it up. I'm on Tinder and Tiami. I don't know how you say it. Tiami.
Yeah, or Timey.
Timey. So you want to start first? What's your first pro that you would say?
Pro is, okay, so I would consider myself an extroverted introvert.
Okay.
So
would you say ambivert then?
Sure.
Okay.
So I usually prefer to be by myself, but I can be social if it calls for me to be social. That's sort of my job. Since I work in retail and I have to talk to people and all of that.
Yeah, same.
But social media allows me to be a little shy, which for me is a pro, even though I wouldn't consider myself shy. When I first started using dating apps, I was pretty shy. I wouldn't message first, but now I'll be messaging people. I'll be like, hey, what up? You look cute. You look good. But it does give you a slight feeling of you can security, and you can recluse. You can hide a little bit, even though some might see that as a con. But for me, it's a pro. I can be a little shy.
Okay. A pro for me. Okay, so you're on the app and you can see people. You see all your options right then and there. And then you can kind of get a gist of who they are by the description. Hopefully they have a description. And I guess that's a pro for me because I guess you know you don't know, and you kind of you get the gist of who you're about to talk to, even if they could be lying about themselves, but you kind of get the gist of who you're talking to, and you kind of get to see who you're talking to, unless they're catfishing. That's a whole different story. But yeah, I guess it's a pro for me. What would be your first con?
My first con is a lot of people on these dating apps are all bark and no bite. So, meaning that if I talk to you and we're talking and then you ghost me, I get a little confused. Usually I don't get hurt unless I personally invested time into people. So, that's something that I have a problem with. Like, just... I don't want to...
Go ahead.
I just feel like sometimes my time is being wasted.
Yeah.
Because how is it that we can message on there and then suddenly you disappear or you just stop responding? And mind you, I'm not the best texter, but if I'm into you and I want to be with you, I'm going to make the time right. And I'm going to make the effort to communicate with you. So I just, my con would be people not really putting in their time to communicate with you.
Yeah. My first con would be that some people use these apps like it's a video game. And the goal is to get a match, and then after you get a match, you don't next. Like they don't message you. They don't message you. All they worried about is getting that match, and they get a match, then that's like a boost in their ego, and then they just continue on right swiping, left swiping until they get another match, like a video game to them, and I don't like that.
So I actually just found a list on datingadvice.com that talks about like pros and cons of online dating. And one of them that was interesting to me was coolest online daters. It says people don't write anything interesting, their photos are terrible, and they don't understand how to communicate. And can I just touch on that? If you put something stupid in your bio, and I really have the urge to go on Tinder and call people out, because if I see one picture of you and there's nothing in your bio, I'm swiping left.
Right.
If I see a picture of a cartoon and you don't know how to spell words, I'm swiping left. Like, I hate when I'm looking for someone to date and they say something, also stupid things, like, there was one girl who had said, like, the corniest thing, and I swiped left, and oh my goodness, I just get so irritated. It's annoying. When you're making your bio on an online dating, like, I could actually read my Tinder bio. You will know.
You want to? If you feel free if you want to.
You'll know everything about me from my Tinder bio because I tell you, like, I'm an interesting person, which is crazy because I don't understand why I don't, like, my Tinder is really dry now. It used to be popping. Now it's like dry. But I tell, like, people, like, I'm not gonna read the whole thing because it's not that long, but okay. So I say my anthem changes on here a lot, LMAO, but I got mad love for the Smiths, Queen, David Bowie, NWA, Young M.A, Old Psychedelic Rock. I'm letting you know off the bat. You can see by my music taste that my interests vary. I sound like an interesting person because I'm not, like, I don't want to say a stereotype, but I'm not. Ooh, that sounds condescending if I say I'm not basic. I'm not conventionally what you would expect. Okay. Then I throw something funny in there because I feel like I do vibe with the goth movement. So I said the big titty goth girlfriend y'all been looking for. Because you know what? Every time on Tinder I would see people talking about, oh, I need my big titty goth girlfriend. I was like, well, I'm here. Then I said, like, Star Trek household, we stand House Stark, Black Lives Matter, Trans Lives Matter, SPCA, Cat Mama. And that's essentially it. I'm letting you know what I'm into. I sound like someone who's interesting.
And you look really pretty on your pictures.
Yeah, exactly. And I have good pictures. Now, mind you, my face is beat in all of them, but you know what I look like. So if you see me in the street, you'll know me. But these people who just come up with basic, I don't even know how to describe it, like, just basic stuff.
Some people will be like, I just moved here, hit me up.
Need friends in the DMV area.
Oh my gosh.
I hate that. Please get off of Tinder.
We're gonna get to that later.
Please.
A pro. A pro for me. There's a lot of cons and pros. Yeah. Let's just say that. I think about it. What's the pro for you? I gotta think about this one.
A pro, I guess, is that there's less worry about word of mouth gossiping. Mm-hmm. Like, back in the day, like in high school, if you were trying to date somebody, everybody already knew who you were trying to date because people would run their mouths. Yeah. But like Tinder and other dating apps give you like sort of privacy, so that way people won't know. The only time people will know that you're on these dating apps is if they come across your profile, which has happened. Like, I've come across a couple of girls' profiles that I know who go to this school. Mm. But other than that, like, you do have a sense of privacy. Like, no one's going to be putting your business out in the street.
Okay. A pro would be that you might come across someone you know, and for queer people specifically, you don't know that the person's gay, but you had a crush on them, and then you find them on Tinder. You're like, oh, okay, and then you swipe right, and then maybe you match. That's pretty good. And then also, like, if you feel weird or uncomfortable or shy to walk up to them and like have a conversation, you see them on Tinder now, and you know they're queer, and so you right swipe and you probably match, and then now you can talk to them in you feel, like you said, you feel security, you feel safe enough to be able to talk to them. I guess that's a pro as well. Back to cons. And this is a huge con. Sometimes people catfish, and sometimes people use dating apps to lure people in, do dastardly things to people, to even kill people. Mm-hmm. Like, I've seen stories about people on Grindr, and they lure gay men in to kill them, to do crazy things to them, and dating apps can be really dangerous sometimes.
That's very true. A pro that I have is it's more convenient. I don't have to go out, which sounds so, like, I don't want to say it sounds so millennial-ish, but to older people, they'll be like, oh, of course, back in my day, we had to actually send letters and ask permission and go in. Yeah, we don't do that now. So, basically, I don't have to leave my house
to talk
to somebody who may not even really be interested in me, which I like. I learned my lesson, though. Mm-hmm. But we're going to get to that later.
Yeah. Another con. I got a con. And it's like, okay, so Tinder. Oh, yeah, Tinder. If you look at top picks, and I see this all the time.
Oh, yeah, they started doing that. I was like, what are y'all basing it off of?
Yeah. And I see all these white guys, and I never see any black guys. I'm like, wow. It's just it's like
biased.
Yeah, very biased. And it's not just that. You see on Tinder, the white guys get most right swipes. They get more attention than black guys.
But I think that's dating culture too.
That's dating period, and dating apps definitely show that, and they definitely expose that. And then also, well, go ahead. You have another con.
No.
Okay, another con. Some people on dating apps think they can just go on their description and say, I don't like black people. I don't like Asians.
That good old fashioned racism.
Yeah.
What do they say? No rice, something like
no
that.
Fats, no femmes, no Asians.
No rice, no spice, something like that. I was like, what kind of white shenanigans?
Like I said in another episode, if you're on Tinder and you don't like black people, you don't like Asians, don't right swipe on black people, don't right swipe on Asians.
But see, a lot of times they fetishize. They don't like the idea of dating a black person, but then they'll say things like, "Oh, I want your BBC," and I'm like, "Shut up, shut up!" Like, no, you can't have it both ways. You can't not want to date a black person, but then want to have sex with them. Come on now.
Right. And that's another thing. Some white people want to right swipe on black people just because they're black. And I feel real uncomfortable about that because I don't see color when it comes to dating. I wouldn't mind dating a white person, but if you're gonna only date me because I'm black, then that's a problem. I don't like that. I feel very uncomfortable.
They're gonna make you their token black swipe.
Oh my god, I will never forget someone on Facebook said, "You're a really cute black boy." I'm like,
no, that's disgusting.
Yeah. But any other pros and cons you can think of?
Not right now. I have more to say when we
Okay. We'll be back after the break.
And we are back. You are listening to ZEN The Podcast. And now it's time for a segment we do in every podcast called What Did You Find?
Yes, prior to making this episode, we have found things that are relatable to today's overall theme, which is dating apps. And during this segment, we will share what we have found. So, Zenobia, what did you find?
Ooh, that voice. Yikes. Let me pull up my gallery.
All right.
I found this really funny picture quote that pretty much describes what it's like with me dating. So it says, lipstick lesbian problems. Men assuming that because you're a feminine lesbian, you're not really gay, and if they flirt enough, you're going to sleep with them.
That is...
And what's funny is I don't consider myself a lipstick lesbian.
You be giving looks lately.
I mean, I do love makeup, and I will do my face. Today, my face is bare because it needed to breathe. Mm-hmm. But it's hard dating because even other gay women don't really think you're gay. Mm-hmm. They'll be like, oh, well, how do I know? I'm like, because I told you that I'm
There's
gay.
A stereotype out there where, like, some lipsticks, they just want to experiment. Like, girly girls experimenting. Yeah. That's probably what they're thinking.
So, what did you find?
I went online and
browse.
And on Housewife Plus again, okay, that's too much to say. So there is a dating app for kids.
What?
And parents are freaking out.
Why is there a dating app for kids?
Okay, I'm gonna read what it says. If you just read that headline and thought, what the bleepity bleep, then you're not alone. It says bleepity bleep actually. App makers in the UK have created a dating app called Yellow for kids under 17 that allows users to swipe right, connect, and send whatever photos and information they want, even if the person they connect with is a total stranger.
Goodbye.
Yeah. This app can be found on iTunes and has a hair-raising description rated 12 plus for the following
12 plus, read a book. Y'all are illiterate. Y'all have the ability to read, but don't. Read a book. Stop trying to date at 12.
It says infrequent mild sexual content and nudity.
What?
Infrequent mild profanity and crude humor. Mature suggestive themes. Alcohol, tobacco, drug use references. Yeah.
What in the fresh hell? Well, it's infrequent means rare, but still, what in the fresh blue hell is going on?
My 12-year-old need to be in middle school.
My 12-year-old needs to read. Y'all need to teach y'all children to read. When I was 12, I was reading. Mm-hmm. Like, my See, my whole thing is my mom was very, like, sheltering, which is good and bad, because that's what affected me at a young age with dating, online experiences and stuff. Because I'm not even gonna lie, when I was 12, stuff happened because I didn't have anybody to teach me how to gauge social media. So parents, potential parents, any of y'all listening, y'all need to make sure that your kid does not download that app and monitor what they do. Because I know what I was doing, and I know what my mom found out. Phone gone.
I think also you need to teach your kids how to use social media.
Yes.
So they don't use it the wrong way. Because I wasn't taught how to use social media. And first thing I did on Facebook is talk to people. Talk to people.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think when I become a parent, that's what I'm gonna do as well. But any app that allows strangers to send photos to children or vice versa is troubling, and I agree.
Yes.
That's a mess.
The whole app just sounds. Oh my goodness! Now I'm thinking about To Catch a Predator and all this.
That's like God! I'm not even thinking about
Yeah. They look at apps like that and go on there pretending to be a 10-year-old Tommy when it's really a grown ass man.
We need to take Yellow down. That's the app. That's the name of the app. But we'll be back after the break. We are back. You're listening to ZEN The Podcast with me, Sirg.
And me, Zenobia.
Yes.
And for more coverage and to get notified when our next episode will air, make sure you follow us on Instagram at ZEN The Podcast. In the future, we will expand our social media presence. I think the other day you texted me about doing like another thing.
Yeah.
And we may actually be coming to YouTube videos, which I love.
See our pretty faces.
Yeah, so that way you can see how we are.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like hearing us is nice, but you also probably want to see us and see how we interact. So, as always, thank you for the support.
Yes. And now we have made it to our topic of the day. We're going to share our experiences and lend a piece of advice if you were to use a dating app. So, what is the first experience that comes to your mind when it comes to dating apps for you?
I'm going to use the one that I told you about, and I'll be exposing this girl.
Oh my God.
So, when I first got a Tinder, most of it was like just short, brief conversations with other girls. During this time, I identified as like bisexual, so I would get guys too, and then realize that I didn't want to talk to them. But now that I have grown, the most recent experience that I've had involved someone who goes to UMD.
Oh my God.
And
By the way, this is not. I'm not part of any of this. Go ahead.
It's not negative. I'm just saying I learned after wasting my gas. But anyway, we were talking for a while, and we have met up with each other twice. So when I got home the second night, I had messaged her. I had fun. She didn't say anything. Usually she'll say something like, oh yeah, I did too. Like, let me know what you're doing. We should hang out again. So she didn't message me after I sent her that. Then I sent her another message later because I'm somebody who I hate double texting. It makes me feel desperate.
Yeah, same.
So I sent her a message 2 weeks later, and I was like, hey, haven't talked to you in a minute. How you been? And then she responded like 3 hours later, like, oh, good. Right there, I was perceptive to that. I was like, okay, so the conversation is basically dead at this point.
Yeah.
So
it's not going anywhere.
Yeah. So I had tried to like elicit a conversation from her. I was asking her like what she did and stuff like that, and she was giving these barely a sentence answers. And I was like, okay. So I stopped texting her.
Yeah.
What made me upset was if I put in the time to drive up to University of Maryland. For those of you who don't know, that's a 31-minute drive. 31 minutes from here. That's a drive. Okay? I didn't do it for my health. I did it because I really wanted to meet her and because I thought we were going to go somewhere with whatever we had.
Relationship.
But clearly it didn't work out. So that was like my first ever like tangible dating experience where I actually met up with someone who I talked to. Now, I'm on Tinder and her currently, as I said before, but I haven't really made an effort to meet up with somebody, mainly because of location. And there's a stereotype about lesbians that, like, we're so desperate to find somebody to date that location doesn't even matter to us. Like, I be looking at people, I'm like, Virginia? Nah, that's not too bad.
Me too.
So that's my experience, Sergio.
Experience I can share. I've been on Tinder for about, I would say, probably a year now. And I guess I've been talking to people, but we never met up or anything like that. The farthest I've went, besides the one I'm gonna explain later, a little bit later, the farthest I've went was probably a month of texting, and it's always been just a month or a couple weeks, and then it just falls off because it's like it doesn't go anywhere. Or like, I hate when people on Tinder, any dating app, and they're like, I'm just here for friends. Why are you on a dating app and you're here for friends? I'm not here for friends. You don't go on a dating app and look for friends. And then you want to talk to me, and your intentions is that you want a friendship, and my intentions is a whole different story. And there's a person, and I kind of liked him, and we FaceTimed and everything, and then out of the blue he's like, yeah, I'm not really ready for a relationship or anything, da, da, da. And after that, I kind of broke down because at that time, before I had my first ever relationship, I didn't have any any experience in a relationship, and I thought we was gonna get there at some point, and you just waste my time, and I kind of felt, honestly, I kind of felt ugly, and I didn't feel like, I felt like I was like not wanted, or I didn't feel, I don't know. I just didn't.
Ugly.
I know. I just, at that moment, I was like, "What's wrong with me?" And he was on FaceTime, and he just said that. That was the first time he was on FaceTime. I was like, I was not having it that night. I was just really sad, and then later on, about a couple months later, finally talked to someone, and we finally got to be FaceTime. We talked. It was really cool. It was like a normal relationship, and we finally met up. We didn't call each other boyfriends or anything until we met up, and we met up like probably about a month later at Pride. It was Pride weekend. And I took a chance, and I decided to go to his house, and I stayed with him Pride weekend, and I don't know if I should say it.
Spill the tea.
Well, oh my god. Okay, I lost my virginity.
You became a man.
Yes, I lost everything that weekend with him, and we had a really, really good weekend besides that, because I don't really think of sex like that. Like, sex is not the most important thing in a relationship to me. What's important to me in a relationship is attention, being together, sharing experiences with each other, being affectionate, just being with each other and doing things together. So that weekend we hung out together. We walked around DC. We was in DC. We walked around DC holding hands. First time me doing that too, with somebody holding hands. Walk around. It was a really nice weekend. And then after that, I went back to Maryland because that's where I lived, and he lived in DC. And from then on, we just went downhill from there because long distance. I guess it's a long distance relationship because I didn't have a car, he didn't have a car either, and it was like no way of us really getting to each other unless it's you get an Uber, you get a Lyft, whatever. And it just went downhill from there, and people started acting differently, and and then I guess he just fell off because he thought I was immature. He kind of got an immature feel to me for some reason, and he thought because I didn't have a job at the time. I don't get all into this, but he's like, because I didn't have a job at the time. It was summertime, like, and I'm fresh off of my first year of college. What do you expect?
Right. But anyway, come on now.
Anyway, he thought me not having a job in the future, I was gonna be a lazy person and not take care of myself or want people to take care of me. And he swore I wanted a sugar daddy. I don't know what he thought about that. I mean, if I wanted a sugar daddy, I could get a sugar daddy because I'm sickening. And if I wanted a sugar daddy, I could go on sugardaddy.com, which is also a dating app.
Or seeking arrangement.
Right. And I don't. I went on freaking Tinder, and that's why I met you. Tinder. Anyway. And during that time, I wanted to FaceTime with him. And he didn't want to FaceTime with me because he swore he was busy. And so he went on Facebook and said that he pretty much said he don't have time taking care of no mother effers. That's what he said. And I saw that and I was like, okay, so so you don't want to FaceTime me, so you don't want to call me, I'm gonna send you a voice message like 13 reasons why type voice message. Oh, this is Sergio. And because I guess you don't love me anymore because we said the L word too. We said we call each other boyfriends. You don't love. I guess you don't love me anymore. So I'm gonna break us up. That's that. And since then I've been single, and I kind of just came back to Tinder, and Timey whatever. And Timey. Yeah, it's a very long story, but that's my experience with dating apps. Yeah. Do you have any other experiences you want to share? I feel like you met up with more people than I did.
I met up with one.
Oh, one person.
There was one. I'm trying to think if I met up with anybody else.
Like, I only met one person.
Yeah, I think that was it for me too.
Okay. So, advice. What advice would you give to someone who is thinking about joining a dating app?
Be careful. There's a lot of catfishes out there who will use somebody's picture. For example, so like I said earlier, like I watch porn, and one of the porn stars that I know, Riley Reid, someone was using her picture on their Tinder account, and I was like, now wait a minute, pause. I was like, Riley, girl, that's not you. So Riley Reid has never messaged me. I wish she did. I only was able to message one porn star in my life. But I sent her a screenshot of the account because I was like, someone's using your pictures and calling themselves Grace or something like that. Yeah, I was like, that is not Grace. That is Riley Reid. But anyway, a lot of people are catfishes out there. Also, do not ever give your address. Please don't do that. Yeah. Over the social media. Don't do it.
Or phone number.
Phone number, I only give it if the person is like, hey, can we FaceTime or can we text?
Yeah, when I say phone number, I mean some people will be putting their phone numbers on the descriptions.
Oh, yeah. So I've seen people do that. I'm like, that's how you get hacked. Yeah. That's how you get spam on your phone. Like, don't do that.
Yeah.
Also, be aware that you don't want to be too hasty. Some people are not going to be upfront with you about their actual intentions. There are people who are on Tinder who will tell you DTF. There are people on Tinder who will say looking for a relationship when they really mean DTF. So you got to make sure that you know what you're getting yourself into. Like I mentioned earlier, make sure your profile is attractive. And I don't mean attractive like make sure you look good, even though that's important. But I mean it in the sense where you need to make sure that your profile is something that's going to catch someone's attention. Like, don't come up with a basic... The worst type of profile I see is a person putting, like, a picture of them climbing some type of rock formation and their bio is reach for the stars. That's an automatic I'm swiping left on you because that's basic.
That's basic too?
Yes! Like, because I've seen it so many times. Like, imagine just, like, 50 different women
I get it.
You know, rock climbing and then putting some type of motivational. Yeah. I'm like, come up with something else.
Yeah, you're
like,
looking for something to catch your eye.
Yeah.
Something new, something different. So that's all your advices you have?
Don't let it consume you.
Okay.
Don't get on Tinder and spend like 3 hours on Tinder. That's something that I had to teach myself. Mm-hmm. The best thing you can do is have patience. If somebody likes you, I just saw that. If somebody the quote. Oh. If somebody likes you, eventually you'll find out. But don't just sit there phone in hand waiting for someone to actually like respond. Yeah. It's gonna take a minute, especially if you're very new to the online dating scene.
And mm-hmm. Well, I found this quote on Instagram, basically saying, stop worrying about someone texting you back and go talk to someone who actually like you. Like, I guess the experience I'm dealing with now on Tiny, whatever the app is called. I'm texting a guy and I'm pretty much the first one to text first. And we have okay conversations, but it seemed like I'm the one texting first. And that's what I have to tell myself, and that's what a lot of people have to tell themselves. It's like, if the person's not giving you their attention, don't give them yours. Like, it's a two-way street. And that's like the first advice I'll give to someone who is like talking. It's not even like dating apps, it's just in general. You're texting someone and they don't give you the same attention you give them, don't give them attention at all. And sometimes that screws people's minds. It's like, they're not giving me attention. Let me text them because they haven't texted me. And you know. Another thing would be, and I just realized this, and this is for college students and like young people, and I realized this myself, and it's kind of eye-opening to me. We're young now. We're in college. We need to try not to be so caught up in trying to be in relationships, because we are all going in different directions at this point of our lives.
Yeah.
In college, I'm going this way and this person might be going that way, and that could be an issue all the time, where you're talking to this person and their plans is going to Alaska and your plans is living in Florida. We're going in different directions, so let's try not to be so caught up in trying to be in a relationship and just take it easy, I guess. I personally, I do want to be in a relationship, but I'm not that type of person to be, want to experience this, experience her, experience him, experience and want to just, let loose and do all that stuff. And I'm not judging anyone who is like that, but I'm more of a committed type person. I do want to be in a relationship. So my advice to everyone that's young and in college, try not to be so hung up in trying to be in a relationship, and just realize that we are going in different directions. And so if you do want to be in a relationship, find that person that's going the same direction you're going to. So yeah.
Words of wisdom to live by.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Anything else? Last words? Anything?
Nope.
Okay, we'll be back after the break. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to ZEN The Podcast. And unfortunately, we have come to the end of this episode.
But don't worry. We will be back next week with new things to talk about. So make sure you hit that like and subscribe button and ring that notification bell to be notified when we release a new episode.
Also follow us on Instagram at ZEN The Podcast and make sure you turn on our notifications on so you'll be notified when we release our next episode. So we thank you so much for listening to ZEN The Podcast with me, Sirg.
And me, Zenobia.
And have a wonderful, wonderful week.
Bye. Bye.